Don't go into this thing and then wind up creating a job for yourself under the guise that you're your own boss. I'm trying to encourage you by making you uniquely aware of the things that people run into and they get into the restaurant business and they don't know until they're already there. So take this as a gem, take this as an opportunity to learn some things from somebody that's been in a restaurant and built it from scratch, was profitable and got out of it before it all got bad, all right? What's going on is Anton from antondaniels.com. Every day I wake up, I just thank God for how awesome my life is. And that's not in comparison to anybody else. I just truly appreciate where I am in life and the experiences that I've had. I'm not sure what I'm gonna get into today, but I think it's important for us to have more conversations as it relates to business, specifically the restaurant business. You guys have been asking me to do more videos related to that. And so let's have a conversation specifically about why I think you won't be successful in the restaurant business. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, the main reason why you won't make it in the restaurant industry and you probably won't even get it off the ground is because you're underfunded. I think one of the biggest questions that I get from its inception, or people that think or is contemplating opening up a restaurant, is that they think that they can do it on a baby budget. And I'm just telling you that that will be your Achilles heel from the outset. You don't understand how much it's going to cost to do a build out. You're not having conversations about whether or not you should even do a build out. You don't understand how much it's going to cost you in rent. You don't understand how much it's going to cost you from an electrical perspective, from a mechanical perspective, that you have to hire an architect in order to get certain things approved in a permitting process. All of these things, equipment, getting that in there. How long are you going to be able to operate from the perspective of being or not being profitable, and you being able to sustain the business long enough in order to be able to ensure that it's actually successful. All these things that people are not considering and taking into consideration, they get into the business. And it was one of the things that I had a problem with, not necessarily having a problem with as far as being able to complete it, because I had the capital, but I under budgeted severely, probably by about $50,000 to $60,000 before even getting open. And I was one of the fortunate ones that actually really did still have the capital to be able to do so without taking out loans or taking on partners or anything like that. But a lot of people don't. And what you find is that people put themselves in a position to have to compromise or cut corners, or they're not able to get all the way open or get the equipment, or they're operating in a space to where, okay, we just got to get open. We just got to get open and then we'll figure everything out from there. Because you never truly figure everything out from there. Here's the best way to do it. Look at your budget and then add 75 to 100% to it. Almost double your budget. And I'm not saying that you're going to need all of it, but it's nice to have and not need the need and not have, if that makes any sense. You have to operate and take into consideration whether you're gonna pay yourself, how much help you're gonna need. You can't not pay people, or you can't operate in a space where, you can't afford to do certain things. Whatever you need, you're gonna have to move a certain type of equipment is gonna break once you get open, and things are going to happen that's going to force you to have to pay for or do things that you unexpectedly or didn't plan for. And you have to take care of that because your business can't run without it. And the thing about the restaurant business is it never stops. Like, you can't just say, yo, we gonna close for a month because we don't have the equipment or some equipment is broken. You can't do that. You gotta figure it out. You gotta make sure that you have the finances in order to be successful. And most people don't. They just hurry up and get into something. And I'm not saying don't jump, but I'm saying that make sure you jump, but you're jumping with realistic expectations of exactly how much it's going to cost for you to get into this business. It's rough and it's financially draining. Miami is interesting in that it's very much like the movies. I find that ironic because I'm from Detroit, and I would say that Detroit is nothing like the movies. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk specifically about why you are going to fail in the restaurant industry. And reason number 2 is because you think that your food is good. Now let me do a deep dive and unpack this a little bit, because I'm not saying that it isn't, or that it isn't to the people that's important to you, but none of that matters. Like, what people don't understand is that being in the restaurant industry, and more importantly, being in business for yourself, means that it doesn't really matter what you think. You're trying to turn a profit, you're trying to be successful, you're trying to meet expectations, you're trying to gain a following, you're trying to do certain things. And in order to do that, the main thing that you have to do is take yourself out of it. And so in taking yourself out of the whole circumstance and situation, you have to factor in that maybe you had your food a certain type of way, or the people that champion your food prior to you opening your restaurant. Because I don't know how many times I've heard people tell me, yo, everybody that I know say that I'm the bomb, or I can cook, or this specific dish that I make is absolutely awesome. That's cool. And you know what? I believe them, and I believe that to be true. For example, me opening up a soul food restaurant, which I personally feel like is one of the hardest restaurants to open. Specifically, I know that soul food, and I had a leg up on people in that everybody has had it differently. Your grandmother had it differently from your sister, and this person come from a different region of the country, and their mother did it differently. Everybody had it different. So for you to just automatically assume that every single person that has yours is going to enjoy it, so you not modifying it or simplifying it or making whatever changes that you need to make in order to appeal to the most people possible and the best way possible, is a sure path to failure. Again, it doesn't matter what you think. The only thing that matters is the people that pay for your food, what they think, what they're going to say, whether or not they are going to return. And you need to factor that in and take that into consideration when you're opening up your restaurant. It's not just about what you think and what your food is going to do. It's about what everybody else thinks. Literally, everybody else is your boss. If it's real windy, you guys got to excuse me, because we're hanging out in Miami Beach. And I absolutely love this place, especially in the wintertime. I haven't been here in the summer, but in the winter here like it is right now, and it being 80 degrees, this is absolutely awesome. Back to the matter at hand in this video that we're recording. The third reason why you guys are going to fail in the restaurant business, or at the very least, as it relates to this point, you probably won't be as successful as you want to be, is because you are focused on hiring and help from family and friends. And I'm telling you that that may be ideal, or it may save you some money, or it may align with what it is that you're trying to do, because everybody buying into the vision initially, but it will not work short term or long term, because you are going to have problems with heads butting and people not being able to align with the fact that you are the owner and you are the boss. And at some point it has to become a business relationship more than it is a personal relationship. And although it is okay for you to do business with family and friends, you have to set clear boundaries. And I find that most people, and not only my circumstance, because I was able to set clear boundaries, which allowed me to filter through all of the different people that, you know, were aligning themselves with my specific restaurants. But I find that most people have a hard time with telling their family and friends what it is that they want them to do, or saying, yo, this is not working. I don't know if we're gonna be able to continue this business relationship, or you just can't cook. Whatever it is, people have a hard time separating that family and friendship, business relationship. And a lot of times it leads to people's downfall. And a lot of times people also get family and friends to, you know, support their business or align with them in their business relationship, as far as working with them or helping them at the restaurant and stuff like that. And it's not sustainable. So if you don't at the very least have a plan to move past that, or to set clear boundaries, or to establish that, yo, this can't work, or these are the things that I'm not willing to deal with, which most people aren't, you're not going to be successful in the restaurant business. I guarantee it. So be very mindful and careful of that, because almost every single person that I know makes sure that family and friends are into their business almost as much as they are. And they wind up finding themselves in a very difficult situation as a result of it. I just want to say that everything in this place is absolutely beautiful. from the Christmas trees to the displays to how everything is laid out to the fact that everything is open is absolutely awesome. But let's get back to what we was talking about. Another reason why you guys won't be successful in the restaurant industry, and listen, I don't want you to feel any type of way about it. I'm just being honest, and if you're able to make it through this list, then that means that you probably will be successful. But I want you to take this into consideration. Your fixed costs are way too high. Your rent, your utilities, your food costs, your payroll, all of these things are things that you relatively will not be able to control. Your rent will be due every single month. Your utilities are going to be massive every single month. No matter how much of whatever food that you sell, it's going to be high, and you're going to have to take that into consideration. Most people don't. They don't take that into consideration when they're evaluating whether or not they want to get into the restaurant business. One thing that people don't talk about is the trade-off of how much you're paying to be in these high traffic places, to be in these spaces where there's a lot of people already, or being in a downtown environment. It's the cost associated with that. And I think that you can have some wiggle room from its initial outset as far as how much you're paying and what you're negotiating in that. And I don't think it's a better time to do it than now in this pandemic, because, you know, commercial real estate and space where people are renting to be in these high traffic areas, it's never been a better time to do that. However, you do need to take into consideration, do you have the marketing to be able to survive or thrive in a space where your fixed costs may not be as high? Are you taking into consideration your food costs? Because when the price of food go up in certain circumstances and situations, you can't just necessarily pass that cost on to your customers. You can't just raise prices every time prices raise for you. So what you gonna do? Like, have you really thought about that and evaluating how you're going to move in the restaurant industry? Like, often at times, the price of different things, whether it's chicken or beef or whatever it was that I was using as my core ingredients and a lot of the things that I was making, the price would fluctuate wildly and vastly based off of, sometimes it was different times of the year. Like, I remember around Super Bowl, like, the price of chicken wings was crazy, and I sold a ton of chicken wings because I was running a special at the time. But I decided, in order to circumvent that I would focus more on volume at that specific time of the year than I was on how much I was making on each piece of chicken. So not only volume, but I used it as a loss leader. Not necessarily that it was losing money, but I developed a strategy in which I was making a lot more money off the stuff that I was selling along with the chicken wings. For example, one of the things that makes the most money in the restaurant industry, and a lot of people don't even know this, but one of the things that's, if you look at a cost versus how much you take in perspective, is drinks. Fountain drinks make you a ton of money versus how much it costs you to produce it and how much you can distribute it for. My point being, in the planning process, make sure you're taking into consideration all of the fixed costs. And I didn't state them all, right? But I just named a few of them, utilities and rent and all that other type of stuff. Make sure you take into consideration your fixed costs that go along with what you're putting together as far as your business plan for your restaurant. The fifth and possibly the most impactful reason why you won't be successful in the restaurant industry is because your business acumen is not as good as your cooking, right? So what I'm saying is, you're substandard as it relates to how you look at business and how you do business, your understanding of how business works versus how good you are in the kitchen and how good your food is. I think a lot of people forget that, and they don't take into consideration the importance of understanding every aspect of business versus understanding what people want from cooking. So you may have like a good pulse on how to get people in the door and everything like that, but do you understand the fact that you got to pay payroll taxes? Do you also understand that DoorDash and Grubhub and Postmates and Uber Eats and all of these other companies, do you understand that the cut that they take as it relates to coming in and getting drivers to deliver your products and your food, do you know that that can be up to 30% or more? But do you also know that that's negotiable? Do you even understand gross versus net? Like, all of these different things, the fundamentals of business as well as understanding what it's going to take from a business perspective. Like, for example, a lot of people never take into consideration exactly how much you make per item that you're selling, right? People don't understand that the margins for profitability as it relates to food is very, very small and very, very slim. If you don't understand these things, if you don't understand payroll taxes, if you don't understand how much you're going to be making per product sold, and factor in costs as it relates to labor into that cost, not just factor in the cost of chicken, but cost of chicken as it relates to how long it's going to prepare it, utilities, how much energy it's going to take in order to do that thing, how much labor you're going to factor into it. If you don't understand all of these things, as well as all the other things that go into a business as far as building it and how much your costs are going to be, you're in big trouble. I would estimate that the business side of running a restaurant is probably 85 to 90% of it, and the other 10 to 15% is the food. Don't go into this thing and then wind up creating a job for yourself under the guise that you're your own boss. I'm trying to encourage you by making you uniquely aware of the things that people run into, and they get into the restaurant business and they don't know until they're already there. So take this as a gem, take this as an opportunity to learn some things from somebody that's been in a restaurant and built it from scratch, was profitable, and got out of it before it all got bad, all right? Let me know if you want me to continue to make videos like this. I am taking time out of my vlog, and I'm usually, you know what I'm saying, trying to do the lifestyle thing, and I'm documenting my journey in other business and aspects, but it seems like you guys really want to explore the idea behind restaurants, and I'm all for that, you know what I'm saying, because I love to talk business, I love to talk money, and I love to help people. So if you guys want me to continue to make these videos, make sure you tap in, make sure you let me know in the comments. I love y'all, I appreciate y'all, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.